You know what I realized? I didn't just work hard for me. I used work as armor, as protection. Every long shift, every hustle, every time I made sure my kids looked put together in public, it was me saying, "You will not call me or my children lazy. You will not put us in that box." But then it hit me. My parents did the same thing for me. They used money and labor as armor because the system made them feel worthless. And here I am, holding that same armor, trying to pass it on. But Spirit is asking me to put it down. And that hurt. Welcome back to the Powerfully You podcast. I'm your host, Sharitha, and I help emotionally wounded, spiritually curious people heal from trauma and reclaim their voice so that they can stop people pleasing, start living their truth, and turn their pain into power. Today, we are talking about labor as armor, how our families taught us to use hard work, money, and image as protection against the world that devalues us, and how, at some point, Spirit comes in and says, "It's time to break the cycle." This one's going to get raw, but you already know we don't heal by hiding. Labor as armor. For as long as I can remember, I equated worth with work. If I wasn't producing, I felt worthless. If I wasn't hustling, I felt lazy. If I wasn't just That wasn't just my belief, it was my survival tactic. As a poor black woman, I knew society already had a script for me: lazy, dependent, a bum. So I fought that script with everything in me. I worked two jobs, I went to school, I made sure my kids look right in public. If people are going to talk, they were going to say she's the hardest working black woman I've ever met. Work was my shield. Labor was my defense against stereotypes, against shame, against judgment I knew was waiting for me and my family. But here's the thing: the shield got heavy. And when Spirit took it from me, I felt naked, exposed, like every stereotype I fought to outrun was suddenly clinging to me. And that was terrifying. Family patterns. I had to ask myself, where did I learn this? And when I traced it back, I saw my parents. My mother only respected people with money. She loved me when I was producing, working, and even loaning her money. My father worked constantly because it made him feel worthy. He used money to control, and the people respected him because of it. Their entire identity was held to labor and survival. And they passed that down and they passed that down to me. Not because they were shallow or cruel, but because they were trying to protect me. That was their way of saying, don't let the world call you worthless. Don't let them see you as helpless. And I realized I did the same thing to my kids. I pushed them to work hard, to take care of themselves, to look right in public, because I didn't want society to label them the way I saw it label my family. Work was my way of shedding, uh, Work was my way of shielding them from a cruel system. But here's the truth: the very armor that protects us also imprisons us. Us, it keeps, it, it kept our worth tied to labor. It kept love conditional, and Spirit is calling me to put it down. Breaking the cycle. So here's the shift I'm stepping into. I can honor my parents for the protection that they tried to give me. I can even honor myself for doing the same to my children. But I don't have to keep passing it down. Because my kids' worth, my worth, your worth, has never been about labor, never been about money, never been about how polished you look in public. Our worth is so deep. It's built into who we are, not what we produce. Spirit is stirring Spirit is stripping me of labor as identity so that I can finally stand in truth as identity. That's painful because it feels like losing the armor that once kept me safe. But I'm realizing that true safety doesn't come from working harder, it comes from knowing I am already enough. Devil's advocate. Now let me be real. There's a voice in me, and maybe in you too, that says, but Sharitha, hard work made you who you are. Hard work kept your family afloat. Hard work shattered stereotypes. Without that guard, where would you be? And I can't deny it. Hard work did keep me alive. It was necessary in a world that doesn't play fair. But here's the problem. Survival tools are not meant to become lifelong identities. When, when spirit says it's time to set them down, it's because they're keeping me from stepping into my next version of myself. So, yes, hard work had its place, but it doesn't get to define me anymore. And it doesn't get to define my children either. Reflective moment. I want you to sit with this. What armor did your family hand you? Work, money, education, perfection to protect you from the world's judgment. How has that armor both protected you and imprisoned you? And what would it look like to honor the intention behind it and choose a new way forward? Take a breath. Let yourself feel whatever comes up. Final soul truth. My parents tried to protect me with labor. I tried to protect my children with labor. But Spirit is teaching me to protect with love, truth, and soul worthiness. That is how the cycle breaks. I am not my labor. I am not my paycheck. I am not my armor. I am powerfully me. Thank you for sharing this space with me today. If this episode reminds you that your worth is bigger than labor, hold on to that truth. Keep trusting Keep trusting your guides. Keep choosing authenticity over armor. And remember, your soul is already enough. And if this episode moves you, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay true, stay tender, and stay powerfully